can get to what you're into now?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I love that question. I think that as I would work and as I would put my hands on someone's shoulder, for instance, there was a part of the work I did that was very biomechanical. And by that, what I mean is that my hands could physically feel the imbalance of the muscles that would cause the dysfunction. And so I could frequently say to someone, and this would be a biomechanical question. My assessment of what was going on with the clients was based on the biomechanics. The muscles would be telling me what the person might have done. So in other words, I could say, wow, feels like you've been raking leaves because of what your shoulder is telling me. But as time went by, I would begin to learn more than just the fact that they had been raking leaves. And so my questions would maybe be more of an intuitive nature. And sometimes I would ask them questions that would cause them to kind of open their eyes and look at me like, what? How did you know that? Sort of thing. So I became far more interested in the intuitive side of things because I was getting some hits, I guess we could call them hits, that couldn't be explained by simple biomechanics.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. So that led you into this very deep, intensive, immersive program called Wilderness Fusion, where you're doing transformative work, which is leading you on to your next path of healing. So what was that like? I mean, you did Vision, not a Vision Quest. What was it? A Vision Fast?
A Vision Fast, yeah. So I heard about Wilderness Fusion from my dear friend Amanda, who is a fabulous psychologist counselor. And because I've been thinking, I just need to go deeper than the body work. And so I was considering going back to school and becoming a therapist or a counselor because I knew that there was more to what I wanted to offer my clients. And I said, Amanda, what do you think? Should I go back to school for counseling? And she said, well, yeah, you could do that, but I think it might be soul death for you. Now, that's not to cast aspersions on the many, many wonderful counselors out there, and I have availed myself of many over the years. But she didn't see that was the next step for me. And she said, how about you come to this information meeting about Wilderness Fusion? It's a different kind of healing, and see what you think. So to anyone who's listening who might be curious, there is a website called wildernessfusion.com, and it is an earth and nature-based healing system called NIAZII. It's NIASZIIH, not a word that anybody is familiar with, but it comes from a lineage of a man that we call grandfather, who was a Lipan Apache elder. And back in the early 1960s, he passed on his healing wisdom and knowledge to a young boy named Tom Brown, who grew up to found the Tom Brown School of Tracking. And there may be listeners who've heard of this school. And it's a school that is still, it's growing bigger all the time. I haven't been a student there myself. But at one time, they also taught healing as part of their arts. So rather than just wilderness survival and tracking, which is what they're known for the most, they also used to offer healing. That the healing aspect split off into its own school, and that's the Wilderness Fusion School.
Cool. Very cool. So now I know that you've moved on kind of with a reset, compliments of the pandemic and the logistics of running your own practice, and you are in the process of building your own. I'm going to let you describe what you're doing and what you call it. I'll let you call it what you're going to call it and describe the transformational work you will be doing there.
Okay. So what I will say is for the last couple of years in my massage therapy practice, I've been a student of Wilderness Fusion for 5 years. It's a 7-year program. I'm about to finish year 5 of the 7 years. And the more I've gotten into this nature-based healing, which is, Amanda was right, exactly what I needed in terms of going deeper with the intuitive work, I've realized that this is where my interest is taking me. And so when the pandemic hit, the governor of North Carolina, and I'm sure many other states, required that we close our practices. And so as I was sitting home, unable to do my massage, I realized this could be exactly the reset I need to move fully into doing the intuitive healing work rather than the massage muscle-based work. So as I sat with that idea, I had to come up with a way to do that felt safe. And one day, I just got this idea. My husband, Jim, and I live on 2.5 acres in a rural area just outside Winston-Salem. We've got a little woods out back. So I came up with this idea for a healing hut. And so we're in the process of building a small little outdoor healing center. I say center, and we're talking a 12 by 16 foot building where it has ventilation, screened walls on 3 sides. It's going to have a single massage table. And the intent is to work with people with the Naya healing work, which is it's transformational work on a deeper level than just working with the muscles. And I'm super excited. We've cleared the space to put the building in. We've come up with plans for the physical space. And as I sent out news of this vision to my massage clients, and a number of them have been really responsive and enthusiastic and have told me that they can hardly wait to go out in the healing hut and do this work with me.
That's incredible, Cappy. You know, I know over the years, you're a person who has little tolerance for when you don't feel your soul is being fed. Like your colleague Amanda said, it would be soul death for you. And so this work you'll be doing out in the healing center in the open air hut, you'll be tapping into what I've heard you talk about, the internal landscape that every person has energetically that we're often out of touch with, and we have blocks sometimes, or traumas that have embedded in our body or in our energetic circuits that you have the ability, as in this healing capacity, to release for us, even while you yourself have done the work to be released in order to go deep with other people. So it's, we've got a minute or so left here. Any comment on that in terms of the soulfulness and depth of the work you hope to do transformationally?
Well, you have explained that really well. And so what I would like to add is that when someone comes to me for a session, this is not something that I do to them or for them. It's collaborative work, which circles way back to my printmaking past. The collaborative nature of what we do is that I kind of serve as a guide to the client, a guide into their own internal, where we might find some wounds, we might find some places that have been shut off through years of just trauma, or maybe whatever happened. It just might not be someplace you've wanted to revisit. And yet, those memories that are stored in the body really need to be liberated in order for healing to happen. And so I like to serve as the guide to help people liberate those old memories and become their best self.
Well, speaking of old memories, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but it just got triggered, maybe back in 6th grade when you did that voodoo doll on me, you were practicing the releasing of old wounds.
All right.
That was
I'm
so.
asking for another session to defend myself and explain the whole voodoo doll trauma. Maybe in another session we can go into
Yeah.
that.
Indeed. I guess I have to be careful now when I'm on the table when the healing hut is open and ready for customers. But I've always seen you as magical, and I know your presence is so deep and so loving and caring. And I just am so honored to be your friend and a part of your life. So
Oh.
people can reach you, Cappy. How can they reach you? And then we have to sign off.
The best way is to go to my website, which is vibrantbeing.com. And you can contact me through that website and be directed to my new Healing Hut website, which will be under construction soon, just like the physical place is under construction now. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for being here, Cappy. Really grateful. And remember to our listeners as well, the life you live is the legacy you leave. Thank you. See you next week.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.